3I/Atlas was supposed to be just another visitor. Another piece of rock from another star system. Scientists were excited to study it, of course. Any interstellar object is rare and valuable, but nobody expected it to be special. Nobody expected it to change everything. The object was discovered in October of last year. An automated telescope in Hawaii spotted it first. The telescope scans the sky every night looking for moving objects. Asteroids, comets, anything that might pose a danger to Earth. When it found 3I/Atlas, the computer flagged it immediately. The trajectory was unusual. The speed was too high. The direction was wrong for something born in our solar system. Within 48 hours, astronomers confirmed what they suspected. This object came from interstellar space. It had traveled for millions of years through the void between stars, and now it was passing through our neighborhood. Scientists around the world turned their telescopes toward it. They wanted to learn as much as possible before it left forever. The early observations seemed ordinary enough. 3I/Atlas looked like a dark rock, roughly 400 meters long, shaped irregularly, like a potato. Spectroscopic analysis showed common minerals on its surface, silicates, carbon compounds, the same materials we find in asteroids throughout our solar system. Nothing exotic, nothing mysterious, but then something strange started happening. The tracking teams noticed discrepancies. Small ones at first. The object was not following its predicted path exactly. Every few days, they had to update their calculations, adjust their models. The deviations were tiny, fractions of a degree, fractions of a percent in velocity. But they were real, and they were consistent. This is what caught everyone's attention. Space is precise, gravity is mathematics. When you know an object's position, speed, and the forces acting on it, you can predict its path with extreme accuracy. We do this all the time with satellites, with asteroids, with spacecraft traveling to other planets. The predictions match reality almost perfectly. 3I/Atlas was not matching predictions. It was accelerating very slightly. But week after week, the acceleration continued. Something was pushing it, changing its course, altering its speed. The first theory was outgassing. This happens with comets. Frozen material on the surface heats up when it gets closer to the sun. The ice turns directly into gas. This gas shoots out into space. The force of this gas escaping creates thrust. It pushes the comet, changes its path. We have observed this countless times, so scientists looked for evidence of outgassing. They pointed infrared telescopes at 3I/Atlas. They searched for water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, any gas that might be escaping. They found nothing. No signatures, no emissions, no visible tail or cloud. The object appeared completely solid and inactive. This created a puzzle. Objects do not accelerate in space without a reason. Forces must come from somewhere. If gas was not escaping, then what was causing the thrust? What was pushing 3I/Atlas? A team at the European Space Agency decided to examine the object more carefully. They used a technique called interferometry. This combines light from multiple telescopes to create much sharper images. It allows you to see details that single telescopes cannot resolve. They divided 3I/Atlas into sections and scanned each area separately. They were looking for any abnormality, any feature that might explain the acceleration, a crack releasing gas, a bright patch indicating exposed ice, anything unusual. For 3 weeks, they found nothing. The surface looked uniform, dark, old, typical for an object that has drifted through space for eons. Then on January 7th, they detected something unexpected. One small region on the northern hemisphere was warmer than the surrounding area, not much warmer, just a few degrees. But in space, this is significant. Objects far from the sun should have uniform temperature. There should be no hotspots unless something is generating heat from within or below the surface. The team immediately focused all their instruments on this location. They measured it repeatedly over several days. The warm area remained constant. It did not move as the object rotated. It did not fade or intensify. It just stayed there, a permanent feature, a source of heat on a cold rock from another star. While the Europeans were studying this warm spot, a radio telescope in Hawaii made a discovery. On January 14th, During a routine scan, the telescope picked up a microwave signal. The frequency was 1.42 GHz. This is called the hydrogen line. It is one of the most common frequencies in astronomy because hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. Natural sources emit this frequency all the time. Clouds of hydrogen gas between stars, nebulas where new stars are forming. Even our own atmosphere produces it. So detecting 1.42 GHz is not unusual. What was unusual was the characteristics of this signal. Natural hydrogen emissions are messy. They spread across a range of frequencies. They fluctuate randomly. They come and go. This signal was different. It was extremely narrow. It stayed locked on exactly 1.42 GHz. It did not waver. It did not drift. And most importantly, it was coming from 3I/Atlas. The team in Hawaii immediately contacted other observatories. Within 12 hours, radio telescopes on 3 continents confirmed the detection. The Deep Space Network in California picked it up. A facility in Australia detected it. An array in South Africa confirmed it. Everyone was seeing the same thing. A stable, narrow-band radio transmission coming from an interstellar object. This was unprecedented. Asteroids do not broadcast radio signals. Comets do not transmit at specific frequencies. Natural space rocks are radio quiet, except for the faint heat radiation all objects emit. This was something else entirely. NASA classified the information immediately. They did not issue a press release. They did not update their public website. Instead, they formed a special analysis team. 12 scientists from different institutions, experts in radio astronomy, planetary science, and signal processing, all of them signed confidentiality agreements. Their task was to determine whether this signal was real or some kind of error. They spent 2 weeks checking everything. They tested their telescopes for malfunction. They looked for interference from satellites. They searched for terrestrial radio sources that might be contaminating the data. Every check came back negative. The equipment was functioning perfectly. The signal was genuinely coming from space, from 3I/Atlas specifically. As they studied the signal more carefully, they discovered it had structure. It was not just continuous noise. Every 41 seconds, there was a pulse. The intensity increased by about 3% for exactly 2 seconds. Then it dropped back to the baseline level. This pattern repeated endlessly, pulse after pulse, with perfect timing. Let me explain why this is significant. Natural astronomical objects do pulse. Pulsars are famous for this. They are spinning neutron stars that emit beams of radiation. As they rotate, the beam sweeps past Earth like a lighthouse. We detect regular pulses, but pulsars rotate very fast, many times per second, and their timing, while regular, drifts slightly over time. This signal pulsed every 41 seconds. Precisely. The timing did not drift, it did not vary, it was like a clock, like something mechanical, like something designed. The team calculated where on 3I/Atlas the signal was originating. They used triangulation from multiple telescopes. The answer was specific. The transmission was coming from a very small area on the northern hemisphere, the same location where the Europeans had detected the warm spot. Something in that exact place was generating both heat and radio waves. By early February, the team had accumulated hundreds of hours of signal data. They noticed something new. The frequency was changing, very slowly. Over 7 days, it drifted from 1.4200 GHz down to 1.4198 GHz. This was not random fluctuation. The drift followed a smooth mathematical curve, like someone was turning a dial, adjusting the frequency deliberately. At this point, NASA contacted SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. SETI operates radio telescopes specifically designed to search for signals from alien civilizations. They have software and procedures for analyzing potential non-human transmissions. They have experience looking for patterns that might indicate intelligence. 2 senior scientists from SETI came to California. They brought specialized analysis tools. Their job was to answer one question: could this signal be carrying information? Could it be a message? They focused on the timing of the pulses, not just the 41-second interval, the exact microsecond measurements. When they plotted these tiny timing variations, they found something remarkable. The pulses were not perfectly spaced. They varied by microseconds. Sometimes a pulse came slightly earlier, sometimes slightly later. When they treated these variations as binary data, a pattern emerged. Longer intervals could represent ones, shorter intervals could represent zeros. Over the course of 1 hour, this created a string of binary digits, a potential data stream encoded in timing variations, so small that ordinary equipment would miss them entirely. The SETI team spent days trying to decode this binary sequence. They tried treating it as numbers, as text, as coordinates, as chemical formulas, as musical notes. Nothing worked. The pattern did not match any human encoding system. It did not resemble mathematics as we know it. If it was a message, the language was completely foreign. Some team members suggested it might not be a message at all. Perhaps it was a marker, a beacon, something designed simply to attract attention, to say we are here without conveying specific information. Others thought it might be navigational data, instructions meant for something else, another object, another system. While scientists debated the meaning of the signal, 3I/Atlas continued its journey through our solar system. Its path kept changing in small ways. The mysterious acceleration continued, and now researchers had a new hypothesis. Perhaps the radio signal and the course corrections were connected, perhaps the same mechanism was responsible for both, some kind of propulsion system that also generated electromagnetic radiation. Engineers at NASA ran computer simulations. They tried to model what type of engine could produce both effects simultaneously. They considered ion drives, plasma thrusters, electromagnetic acceleration systems. None of their models matched the observations perfectly. Whatever was operating on 3I/Atlas used principles we did not fully understand. On February 23rd, something happened that shocked everyone. The signal stopped, not gradually, instantly. Between one pulse and the next, one moment the transmission was active. The next moment, complete silence. Every radio telescope monitoring 3I/Atlas detected the cutoff simultaneously. The analysis team was stunned. They had been tracking this signal for 40 consecutive days. It had become predictable, reliable, a constant presence. And now it was gone. Vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. They immediately checked all their equipment, recalibrated their telescopes, verified their systems. Everything worked fine. They could detect other radio sources without problem. They could hear pulsars, quasars, radio galaxies, but from 3I/Atlas, nothing. The object had gone completely quiet. Some scientists believed this was the end. The transmission had completed its purpose. Perhaps it was timed, programmed to broadcast for a specific duration, and then shut down. But others wondered if the signal had not stopped, but changed. Perhaps it had shifted to a frequency they were not monitoring. Perhaps it was still broadcasting somewhere in the electromagnetic spectrum they had not thought to check. This brings me to what happened 6 days ago, the discovery that changed everything. A graduate student at MIT was reviewing archived images from the Hubble Space Telescope. She was looking at pictures taken of 3I/Atlas during the weeks when it was transmitting the radio signal. She wanted to see if there were any visible changes in the object's appearance. She was comparing images taken during the transmission period to images from earlier, looking for cracks, surface changes, any physical alteration that might explain what had happened, and she found something nobody had noticed before, something that had been there all along. A second object, much smaller, much fainter, traveling alongside 3I/Atlas, not orbiting around it, not trailing behind it, moving parallel to it, maintaining a precise distance of approximately 50 kilometers. Two objects moving together through space. She thought it might be an error at first, a camera artifact, a processing glitch, but when she checked the raw data, the object was there. When she looked at older images, it was there too. Going back months, this companion had been traveling with 3I/Atlas since before we discovered it. Perhaps for years, perhaps for its entire journey across interstellar space. She measured the companion object as carefully as she could from the Hubble images. It was small, maybe 15 meters across, but it reflected an unusual amount of light. Its surface was bright, reflective, almost metallic, completely different from the dark surface of 3I/Atlas. NASA redirected the James Webb Space Telescope immediately. They needed better images, higher resolution, more detail. The Webb telescope is more powerful than Hubble. It operates in infrared wavelengths. It can see heat, chemical signatures, surface features that other telescopes miss. The images came back 3 days ago. What they showed was extraordinary. The companion object was not a natural rock. It had geometric features. Straight edges, flat surfaces, angles that looked precise. Intentional. The shape was roughly cylindrical, with 2 symmetrical extensions on opposite sides. The surface was covered in regular patterns, hexagons, squares, designs that do not occur randomly in nature. The Webb telescope also detected something else. A faint electromagnetic signature coming from the companion, not strong, not active, but present, like residual energy from something that was recently operating but is now dormant. The frequency of this signature matched the radio signal that had been broadcasting for 40 days, the signal that stopped on February 23rd. This strongly suggests the smaller object was the transmitter, not 3I/Atlas itself. The companion was sending the signal, and when it stopped broadcasting, it did not disappear. It remained right there, silent, dark, waiting. I have seen the Webb telescope images. I cannot share them publicly because they are classified, but I can tell you what they reveal. The companion object does not look natural. It looks designed, built, manufactured, whether by humans or something else, I cannot say. But the features are there, visible, undeniable. NASA has not released any of this information to the public. The existence of the companion object, the geometric features, the electromagnetic signature. All of it remains secret. I know about it because scientists inside the program are troubled by this secrecy. They believe the public has a right to know what we are finding. Right now, as I speak to you, both objects are still moving through our solar system. They will reach their closest point to Earth in approximately 85 days. After that, they will swing past our orbit and begin their journey back into interstellar space. We have one window, one chance to study them closely before they disappear forever. There are already discussions happening behind closed doors, proposals to launch an Intercept mission, send a spacecraft to rendezvous with these objects. It would need to launch soon, within weeks. It would be expensive, technically difficult. The timing would be extremely tight. But if we do nothing, they will leave and we may never see anything like them again. Let me be very clear about what we know for certain. We know 3I/Atlas is accelerating without any visible propulsion. We know it transmitted a structured radio signal for 40 days. We know a second object with geometric surface features is traveling in formation with it. We know that companion object shows electromagnetic signatures matching the transmission frequency. What we do not know is what this means. We do not know if these objects are artificial. We do not know who or what might have created them. We do not know their purpose. We do not know their origin beyond the fact that they came from outside our solar system. These are unanswered questions, mysteries that demand investigation. I have been a scientist for nearly 5 decades. I have investigated hundreds of astronomical puzzles. Most of them turned out to have natural explanations. Phenomena we simply did not understand at first. But this feels different to me. This feels like something that might not have a natural explanation. Natural objects do not broadcast narrow-band radio signals. They do not maintain precise formation with companion objects. They do not have geometric patterns on their surfaces. Any one of these things alone might be explained away. But together, they create a picture that is difficult to dismiss. We have 85 days before these objects leave our reach. What happens in that time will depend on decisions being made right now. Whether to pursue them, whether to release the information publicly, whether to acknowledge what we are seeing. I am sharing this because I believe transparency matters, because I believe people deserve to know what is happening in space around our planet, because the more people who are aware, the harder it becomes to keep important discoveries hidden. In the weeks ahead, there will be more observations, more data collected, more analysis performed. I will continue to share what I learn through whatever channels remain available to me. We live in a remarkable moment in human history. We have the technology to study visitors from other star systems. We have instruments powerful enough to see details our ancestors could never have imagined. Whatever these objects turn out to be, we are privileged to witness their passage. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about these questions. Keep looking up, keep asking. The universe is full of mysteries, and sometimes those mysteries come close enough for us to touch.